Today we're going to focus on illness and empowerment.
Has your illness left you feeling disempowered in some way?
What would it mean to you to feel slightly more empowered than you currently feel?
We've both experienced how tough it is to stay empowered while dealing with a chronic illness.
In the following video, we discuss how your mindset can be altered in a way to help you feel more empowered. People who are battling chronic illness can often feel disempowered. Many long-term conditions can rob a person's sense of authority, control and influence. This will often lead them to feeling weak, ineffectual and marginalised. Perhaps you have experienced something similar.
Maybe you once enjoyed a more dynamic life, pursuing a dream career, engaging in physical activities, or being at the center of an active social group. Due to the nature of chronic illness, life begins to get smaller. As necessary these restrictions are, the emotional and psychological effects can often be very damaging. A disrupted working life can lead to a loss of purpose. The abandonment of hobbies can leave you deprived of fulfilment. Lack of social interaction can make you feel irrelevant. Suddenly, you're not feeling like you're in control of very much.
We have both experienced similar feelings of disempowerment ourselves. Through research, working with others, and our own experience, we suggest considering several exercises. While these interventions may not alleviate your physical symptoms, they can certainly enhance resilience and feelings of empowerment, which have been linked to improvements in medical outcomes. Remember that disability does not have to mean disempowerment.
Here are 7 steps to an empowered mindset with chronic illness. Number 1. Identify triggering events. To overcome feelings of disempowerment, it's helpful to first establish what events are triggering them. Think about all the situations where your diagnosis has limited or kept you from living as you used to. Many of us, for whatever illness-related reason, are forced to alter key parts of our lives. For example, maybe you're being forced to stop working because of your illness. Another trigger may be not being able to perform a whole range of physical activities, everything from daily activities like household chores to taking long walks, yoga, or running. Alternatively, you may be feeling lonely, isolated, or left out because you're not able to have the same social life as before.
Number 2 is to examine your thoughts. Now, this second stage requires you to reflect on what you really think about these triggering events. They can often influence a whole range of limiting thoughts. For example, your thoughts about not working may lead you to thinking that you are no longer useful or valuable. Thinking about your physical limits might create thoughts about you being incapable. A scaling back in your social life could lead you to thoughts about being less relevant or important.
Number 3. See the link between your thoughts and feelings of disempowerment. Next, it's time to examine the emotional effects of these thoughts. For example, not feeling valuable or important to anyone can be linked to feelings of loss or despair. These in turn could reinforce the viewpoint that you have very little power and control. However, it's important to realize that these feelings do not originate from the actual events, but rather the thoughts that you have about those events.
Number 4 is examine the actual evidence. Once you have identified the impact certain thoughts have upon your feelings, search further and analyze the validity of these thoughts. How much evidence is there that you are actually incapable or unimportant? Is it possible that there are some contrasting pieces of evidence?
Number 5. Establish if there is any middle ground. Very few things in life are either all or nothing. With most issues, there's usually some middle ground. It is unlikely that you're capable of everything or incapable of anything. Think about which areas in your life might you still feel capable or important.
Number 6 is to focus on what you still can control. Now, illness is a time when you lose control over many aspects of your life. It is probably safe to say that you did not choose to fall ill in the first place. It was not something you could control, and perhaps you cannot fully control your pain, your fatigue, or recovery time. However, think about what you still do control. Is it your resilience levels, your coping skills, educating yourself as a patient? There will be something.
Number 7. Trial and error. Make a list of areas in your life you still feel you can handle. What activities are you still physically or mentally capable of doing? What will your strength, energy, or pain levels still allow? In other words, adapt a trial and error approach. Take pride in discovering what works or doesn't work. Use this information to plan your next action steps.
Following are 9 questions for you to ask yourself in order to help you adopt a more empowered narrative during chronic illness. Number 1 is, what is your actual illness narrative? Now, many people who are dealing with a chronic condition can carry an illness narrative without even realizing it. This is reflected in the way they talk about their illness and the language that they use. For some, their identity is that of a victim who is incapable and weak. For others, they are a survivor or a hero overcoming tremendous odds. Your illness narrative or identity will go a long way to contributing towards feelings of empowerment or disempowerment.
Number 2, which events lead you to feeling disempowered? These are the events which lead you to feeling disempowered most often. Maybe they include feelings of weakness or fatigue. Alternatively, you may be triggered by the frustration of not being able to work, socialize, or enjoy a hobby. It could be any number of triggers which are subjective to you.
Number 3 is to ask yourself, what are the contexts which often lead you to feeling disempowered? Now, to define context, you just need to think about how your community or culture or social expectations affect the way that you view yourself in the world. It may also include how you interact with others in a social group. Their attitudes towards your illness and your condition can influence how empowered or disempowered you feel.
Number 4, ask yourself, how does disempowerment manifest itself in you? You might notice it in your posture, for example, slouching shoulders. Perhaps it manifests itself in your voice, including swallowing your words or speaking with a softer voice.
Number 5 is to be aware of the nature of the language you use most often. The words you use regarding your condition may be more reactive in some ways and more proactive in other cases. Reactive language indicates that something is happening to you, while proactive language reflects that you are doing something. For example, if only I didn't have this condition versus I'm battling an illness, which is more reflective of the version of yourself you would like to be. Proactive thoughts and language are usually far more empowering than reactive language.
Number 6, ask yourself, what would a more empowered version of yourself look like? Think about that version of yourself you've always wanted to be. Describe, how do they look, feel, or sound? Think about how your body language and voice might come across. Maybe there's a role model you could base yourself upon.
Number 7 is to think back whether there was a more empowered version of yourself previously. Now, consider a time when you achieved a win, even a small one. Think about what this winning moment felt like and how it affected the way in which you came across to the other people around you. If you could bring this version of yourself to life again, then how would that person handle your condition currently?
Number 8, ask yourself, what would you like to change? This involves looking for ways to shift to a more empowered illness identity. How would you feel as an illness hero or survivor? What kind of language, behavior, speech, body language, and even dress could you adopt? And how would this affect your recovery?
Number 9, what small wins can you accomplish? These could be brief, daily activities to help you transition it into more proactive habits and an empowered mentality. There are many examples of these, which could range from performing brief spells of mindfulness, abbreviated exercise sessions, or short periods of engaging in patient education.
Here are 9 solutions to helping you feel more empowered. Number 1, goal setting. Within the limitations of your condition, try setting obtainable goals for yourself. This could be setting up a simple schedule or organizing the medication you take. The feeling of initial achievement can boost your feeling of being in control and help you feel empowered.
Number 2 is establish what you bring to the table. Now, we all have our own strengths, skills, knowledge, and experience. Take time to consider which ones you possess already and how they can be utilized to help you fight through illness. For example, management skills that can help you plan a simple routine around your condition.
Number 3, think ahead. Being proactive is a way to empower yourself with contingency options. This could be applied to preparing for a potential flare-up or avoiding having more tasks to do than your condition will allow you.
Number 4 is minimalism. Possessing and tasking yourself with less prevents you from feeling overwhelmed. This can also help to avoid any sense of failure. Performing tasks which fall within your personal limits and conserving vital energy leads to small wins.
Number 5, patient education. Knowledge is power. Relevant knowledge is acquired through patient education. Equip yourself with information from your doctors and online resources so that you're better prepared to manage your condition.
Number 6, learn what works and what doesn't work. Trial and error are great educators. See what times of day you function most effectively, as well as what makes you feel better or worse. What is too much for you? What should you avoid? These experiences will empower you to make better future judgments.
Number 7, exercise. This may be as little as a few minutes of moderate activity each day. Walking, swimming, stretching, or calisthenics. Not only will it boost strength and stamina, but it will also reinforce your sense of proactivity, control, and most importantly, empowerment.
Number 8 is connect with others. This may include existing friends, family, or other illness sufferers within a support group. Either way, having your team around you can be emotionally empowering.
And finally, number 9, find purpose. Studies have shown that illness can lead to feeling a loss of purpose. However, we couldn't disagree more. Illness is a test of strength and resilience. What does the illness experience teach you about who you really are and what you could be doing with it? How can you use this to help others?
We hope that you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Did you like the ideas? Do you have any ideas of your own? Is there anything different which you would like to see us cover?
If you like what you've heard, we ask you to support this channel by clicking the thumbs up on this video and hitting the subscribe button. Please also use the share button to pass this information around to anyone who may benefit from it.
Check out the written blog version of this video by clicking the link below and visiting our website. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under Empower Illness Coaching. To find out more about who we are, feel free to visit the video about our illness journey.